Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
What's happening?
Welcome to the 70th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-hosts Andrew Norman and Brandi S. Today's topic is harmony. Can you share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you were happy to come and discuss it today?
I would love to, Milan. When we started talking about this topic last week, I hit on this one first because I knew it would strike a chord with you, being that harmony. A lot of times, yeah, I love it. I know I'm glad.
Yeah, that was good.
Your voice is melodious right now.
Is it oh God, you got me tripped up. So a lot of times it refers to like a musical reference too. There's like a musical portion to that. So that's specifically why I chose, you in general, but it really goes into a spiritual context too. The overall definition and meaning of it is an accord between two people or things, or a state of balance and bliss. We talk about balance all the time, guys. You got to be balanced, balance this thing out, because we don't know what balance is. We're teeter-tottering on one side of the extreme or the other, it seems like, in addiction. And even in coming out of this thing, too, it seems to get harder as we're coming off drugs. So, but in the spiritual context, as I read into it a little bit more, it's a state of inner peace, an alignment between mind, body, and spirit, fostering a sense of wholeness and connection to something larger than oneself. What are we doing here? We're trying to connect to something that we're starting to realize we're not it, and we're trying to connect to something that that we know has our back unconditionally, right? And it can't just be, it can't be another person. Really, you can't have your sponsor can't be your higher power. I mean, the group can be your higher power. Something just greater than you, that you get that feeling from, and you want to be in harmony with it, right? There's an inner peace that comes with that. There's a balance that comes with that, an alignment with higher principles, right? We work these steps to gain spiritual principles that we can work in our lives without having to, think, process our way into them, try to live by them. And it creates unity, harmony, unity, connection. The opposite of our disease is connection. And then it just really, aligns, just brings us, there's a wholeness to it. Right, harmony brings a wholeness to our lives, and it brings kind of an ease to our lives. Right, if there's a harmony note to our lives, man, we're gonna be sliding through this thing and not trying to kick and fight and bite, scratch, and claw our way out of every fucking thing we do. So yeah, that just kind of opens it up to the broader discussion for everybody. But yeah, that's what it means to me. It creates a lot of things. It can, creating harmony. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later in the podcast, as we go through it. But yeah, harmony is a beautiful thing, man. And it can come to you in a lot of different avenues, because as we always talk about, this is a program of action. It's we make it what we want it, right? Well, to be, right. If we're looking for reasons why it's going to work, we're going to find them. If we're looking for reasons why it's not going to work, we're going to find them. So we got to create some harmony in there, make it easier for us. Harmony makes this whole process easier for us to slide in and out of these bad times that we have, because we're going to go through shit, man. Life does not stop lifing.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll pass that over to you, Ms. Brandi.
I love this topic too. And, it's something like what something you just said made me think about, like you get the harmony that you put out, like I can control, or not control, but like, I like to control, but you can, like, what you put out there, you can't just sit there and just, expect the harmony to kind of like balance with you. And, and with it, like, I feel like, like I'm not the base of my harmony. I'm just a part of it. And that is a big one, I think. And I think in all of all areas of our lives, especially being a mom and a wife and an addict, and not living under a rock anymore. I guess you could look at that any way you want, really. Yeah. There is balance. There is balance because if not, things start teetering. So I think that, to be able to acknowledge this topic and talk about it and understand the importance of it, I know it is for my life and for the things in my life to circulate in a harmonious way, is so
Harmonious.
important. Harmonious. Thank you. Did I even say a word that made sense? No,
It does now.
I know. Okay,
Guess who
thank you.
loves
Thank
you?
you.
Really?
You, us.
I tend to pull out my own bad vocabulary. So
I got to mess
but
with you.
but you catch my drift.
Yep.
And but it's something that is obtainable. It's not like it's out of our reach. It's something that we just, but you got to work for, you work for it until it's there, and then you work at keeping it. Because I found many different balances in my life that have worked, and I get too comfortable, and then I get wobbly, and then all of a sudden I gotta realize there was no balance at all. So I like that you picked this topic.
I love this topic. Like, I'm like, this is like, woo, look at me go. So, okay. The very root of the word is harmos, meaning to join, connect, or fit together. It is why in Greek mythology, Harmonia is the goddess of harmony and concord, as to be in harmony is to be at peace, settled, and calm. So now, for me, I used to, well, I still play music and write music, but I used to build instruments. And one of the things I went on is this wormhole at one point of like understanding the structure of sound. And so most people out there are familiar with the sine wave. It goes up and it goes down and it's even and it keeps repeating. And so sound, a note of sound, is how many times that goes up and down in a second. That's called a hertz, right? And you've all heard of the word an octave. Everybody's heard an octave. So that is merely a sound wave that goes twice as fast. So in the period that the first one goes once, this goes twice. And that intersects at 2 points every time there's a cycle. And those intersections are what creates harmony. Harmony is an even intersection of sound waves. So any note that is in a key with another one intersects at a different ratio. And so what it is, though, to me, is that intersection, like, if you go to that meaning of the word there where it was join, connect, or fit together. They join and they connect and fit together. But there's another side to it, is that they join and connect and they create something stronger from that connection. And if you think about that feeling of being in harmony, it's a stronger feeling than without it. And things that are not harmonious never ever intersect at an even ratio. Like they're like irrational numbers, like pi, just like flooding about and hitting here and there. And that's why when you hear something that's out of tune, you're like, oh, what the heck? Like this sounds like chaos, because it is chaos.
Yeah.
It's and it's not reinforcing it. Whereas all of a sudden you hear a couple like harmonize on a note perfectly. I mean, that tickles you right down in your boots. Like you're like, whoa, you're like, that is beautiful. And so I just felt like I had to give that little lesson right now, because
No, I was about to say thank you. I'm just like, it's a win-win right here.
That's why I came up with it as a topic.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, man, I'm like, if you're going to bring something else in, I'm like, I love that one. I'm like, that one, don't, please, right in the back.
Yeah.
You want to figure it out. Yeah. And anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there at that. I could talk about that a few more minutes, but I do feel like let's let it unfold with the question. So do you want to ask Brandi the first question, Andrew?
Yes, I do. So what have you had to lean on? What have you leaned on in your recovery process to help you create a greater sense of harmony as you roll through this thing? Like, what have you leaned on? What are your go-tos that have gotten you into a harmonious place? Because I know, and I'm not saying you're in harmony. I guess it relates to you.
Yeah. Good question. Because it's, my first and probably most dominant thought would be my higher power, 100%, because I feel a sense of chaos when I do stuff on my own without leaning on my higher power, because I did for so long. And and I definitely lean into the fellowship, because like the fact of being around so many different people and so many different stages of harmony, but then seeing how it's done and that it's possible, because there's some times where, in a busy life of kids and doing being a mom and a stay at home, I'm always busy. And I can get off balance so fast. So I go straight to my higher power. And then also when I doubt I can even balance my recovery and my home life, I hear other addicts talk about it. I hear other people talk about how they have done it. And so, and to constantly, I lean on the tools that I've learned in my program too, because there's so many in there that make me realize that like I just need to stop and let the harmony like settle, instead of trying to fill this one and fill that one, and maybe if I got some left for me, but like to be able to find it where it's just balanced. It's like the ripples in the water, just let the water kind of settle.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for like I've always had a higher power. I call my higher power God. But I've never had the relationship with him like I have had in recovery. And when it comes to anything that like in harmony, will just say when it comes to harmony, balance in my life and what I strive for and what I know I can obtain, I owe it to him 100%. Because to live a life, we all know this when we're out there running and gunning, and the only harmony we think we have is when we get a bag, and that's just not what it is. And my whole life was chaotic. Like there was nothing, there was things like I probably strived for harmony in a sense. Like I want to be able to, like, I wanted the balance of like being the mom and the wife and the churchgoer, but then using drugs. And so like, that's just like, it doesn't really happen. I don't think it happens at all. Maybe some people can say it can happen for others, but let's be real here. There's no real functioning addict, I don't think. And I don't want to be like that ever again. Like, and even if I'm not using it, I can still be chaotic. And so it's like I gotta use the tools that I've learned in my recovery to remind myself where I don't want to be and where I want to be. And where I want to be might change. I might find my balance is more in one than the other, but what I get from it is the same balance. Like sometimes I might, do more recovery. I might meet with more addicts or do more meetings. And but then there's other times where I don't. And I've had to do that with the fact of like, I don't do meetings certain nights a week, so my family gets me. And so, and I lean on my family for that, for harmony also, because, with like how you were talking about with the music, like I feel like my family is like that. Like we can go different ways. And if there's not some type of center in it, then everything's get off balance. And also, my higher power is fully in my house and my family, and that makes a big part of being able to lean on the same thing for balance. And so, there's so many different things that we can like, hold on to help us balance our lives. But you just got to pick the one that's going to stand firm, that's going to stand firm. Even when I come with my own ideas, like, well, maybe I'll just move this and do that and check this box and underline this and put it, and it's doesn't mean that I'm balancing things. It just means that I'm keeping myself busy in so many areas that I don't notice. And so, I think it's important to be able to, like I said, mine's God. And I don't know how I could go wrong with that. But along with it, there's so many other things that I can use to, check my balance in life and make sure that I'm not going off one direction or the other. Because, I always say, like, I say to my kids, like, if it's messy here, then it's messy here. And so I try to keep it all clean all the way around,
Love that. I
That's
love that.
yeah, that's all I got though.
That's so. Thank you, Brandi. That was beautiful. Thank you. Love that. All right. I already know you gotta. I'm gonna
I
ask you
was
the question.
just gonna say, come on, bring it
So,
back.
what have you found that you've leaned on, Milan, in those hard times to create that sense of harmony in your life today in recovery?
Okay, so um, for sure, for sure, surrender's right there. Surrender is right there, and because my surrender started my journey of freedom from all that shit going on in my brain about drugs. And fortunately for me, for anybody who's new out there, surrender is just actually giving away that fight with your
Mm.
addiction. Like it really is surrendering it, and doing that brought so much more peace and harmony into my brain from not having to struggle with those thoughts all the time, because
Yeah.
they were filtering all my actions to begin with. So, like the very biggest thing would be the surrender. And then, you know, um, one of, another thing for me would be pulling gratitude into it. Pulling gratitude into my day early on lets me love the things instead of hate them in my
Hmm.
brain, and that, because man, starting like bitchy, it's I can just like go like, man, you guys are sucking. This is sucking. I'm sucking. What a sucking day, you
Yeah,
know. And but
I feel that.
yeah, and if I pull it, that's why to me, like, some people do their gratitude list at night, and I'm like, hats off to you if you can make it the whole day without it. Because for me,
Mm.
I need to start my day with it. I need it to be like the pulse in my morning right away. Like, boom, I'm on my gratitude list as the kettle's boiling. It's just part of, like, I'm like, okay, go dig deep, sucker. Like sometimes I'm tired and it's not working. Um, and I really, really feel that when I do more activity. I've been really walking a lot lately as my exercise of choice, like a lot, like 8 to 10K in a day. And
Wow.
just being outside with my dogs and breathing and getting myself that tired. It brings more harmony into myself and my life. Like it's, when you got a dog and you're like, a tired puppy's a good puppy. Well, I guess I'm a tired
Yeah.
puppy, like a sleeping dog is a good dog. It's not chewing
Yeah.
anything, it's not destroying anything, and it's not stealing your food or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, but I also see that with myself. Like, if I just leave myself idle and screw, like if I jack myself up on coffee and do nothing, I could just like
Ah.
pull the jerk out like one of those clown things where it's like I'm pulling and it's never ended. The silk and its rainbows and
Oh
yeah,
my
That's good.
God.
I
That's
think
so
that's it
funny.
for me on that
I
one.
could
But
picture that. That was
I
great.
know.
That is so funny. I want to read this quote to you.
Mm,
Y'all ready for this?
yeah.
Hmm.
Real strength never impairs beauty or harmony, but it often bestows it. And in everything imposingly beautiful, strength has much to do with the magic. What do y'all think about
Mm.
that? So it's
I
That
about,
think
was
that's,
delicious. I was
yeah,
like,
it was
ooh, ooh,
delicious.
I'll
Yeah.
say real good.
Can I have some more?
Real strength impairs beauty, never impairs beauty or harmony, but it often bestows it, right? Um, and
mm.
and and in everything imposingly beautiful, strength has much to do with the magic.
I
And
love dynamic, strong people. Like I'm
yeah,
like,
Mm.
whoop.
they've been
Yeah.
through something. You know they've been
That's
through
it.
something.
That's it.
Somebody's
Yeah.
got, they've got a story. There's an attraction there. It's a natural attraction where you want to know how they got through what they got to become that strong person, right? Whether it's something that you can gain strength from, or you can relate it to somebody in your life that's struggling, right? That's huge. That's huge. Just
Mm.
being able to be, of service without even knowing you can be of service. Just being able to hear a message and maybe pass that message along. But
Yep.
strength is what we gain through the madness we survive. That madness that we go through, that's the strength that we get on the other side of that madness we go through. Is where we get that strength. And I don't know if y'all have ever heard this. Addiction is an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. Does that make sense? So, and we
Yeah.
talked about this on one of the last podcasts, Milan. I didn't know if you'd heard that, Brandi, but what I'm trying to do is create harmony in those two things. I'm trying to create a balance between that obsession and the allergy. And that's where I got to stay tapped into this fellowship, man, because if I'm not tapped into what's going on and staying current and just saying, hey, I'm an NA member and I go to meetings when I can, or if I feel like I need to, I'm living in my self-will at that point, man. I've taken my will back and I'm just kind of rolling.
You just canceled your insurance policy.
I've canceled my insurance policy. It's a matter of time until I get pulled over and I get fined and tickets and thrown in jail. You know, it's a snowball. It's that snowball rolling downhill that as an addict, you know, I've got an addictive personality. So once I start going that way, I'm apt to continue that way. Yes, and not even really know what I'm doing, right? I'm not really even knowing what I'm doing because I'm not going to call myself on my own bullshit. If I haven't surrounded myself with a group of individuals like y'all and my sponsor and really put some time and effort into myself and self-love, loving myself to want to stay alive and do the right things, then I'm not going to notice when I'm getting off kilter and off keel, you know? And so, you know, I heard this: harmony makes things grow, a lack of it makes things decay. Right. So I'm either working towards harmony or I'm working towards something that I don't want to be working towards. Right. Yes. And look, I also heard harmony is pure love. And harmony is pure love, which is complete agreement. You know, love is an agreement on unconditionally loving somebody. Because why? Because we can empathize with them today, and they've been through in the same position we have been. And harmony is a beautiful word. We hear it a little bit in these rooms. You know, the music thing, I knew Milan would love that part of it, but it's about balance. It's about balance. Yeah. It's about the balance, the mind, body, and soul. That's your mind, body, spirit. That's your step 1, 2, and 3. You know, that's my 1, 2, and 3. And I can literally take every decision I make every day and I can apply 1, 2, and 3, my step 1, 2, and 3 to that decision. And if I do, I'm gonna be living in a balanced life because I'm gonna make a spiritual decision, you know, based on, hopefully I'm conditioned spiritually that day. So I'm keeping my just for today clean, right? That's how I get that, as I stay tapped in. And I know I'm gonna come out with some kind of harmonious response to it or something, because I'm not just taking, you know, as soon as I get my will back every morning, guys, when God wakes me up and goes, here it is, I give it right back. I give it right back.
I love it when you say that.
Look, I give it right back.
It makes sense.
I pray that shit right back. I'm like, bro, look, thank you. And I appreciate you. And I love you, God. But here, look, you ain't tricking me today. And I think he does that. I think he does that because he's testing me. He's like, look, all right, I'm gonna check and see if he's gonna give it back to me today. And you know, it only takes that one day to not give it back. That you don't know what the hell's gonna. You don't know the outcome. You know, he might not have your back when you need him. You know, because I have to be in complete surrender. This whole surrender thing has really been taking over my life here the past week, Milan. Like my middle name has been surrender. We got to out surrender this thing. I don't care if you talk about outworking it. We got to out surrender this thing.
I'm like surfing the surrender every day. I'm like, hey, you want to talk? Man, by the way, that's surrender.
It's crazy,
I had a lady come in a meeting last night who was at a meeting Friday where I talked about surrender, and she came in crying, saying that it changed her life and that now she has had her awakening because of talking about surrender.
We do talking about things, like I was saying, like when I hear other people, even if it's something like that, like I still reference the girl that I first ever heard my story from, and like she spoke my story. And sometimes you just hear something from another addict, even if you've heard it before, but it hits that in one moment and it is life-changing. Yes. You know, she's not just saying that to be nice. Like it literally did change her life. Those weren't fake tears.
It was like, I was like, man, I was love so that grateful.
Part of this.
I'm so grateful. You know what? I had gratitude for Tom right at that moment. I was like, man, if Tom didn't just spark us last Wednesday, I wouldn't have done that. You know? Yeah. It was like a chain reaction of recovery energy.
And look, here's one. Y'all will really, really like this one, man. This is very, very powerful. You might want to write a song about this one. There is no way to peace. Peace is the way.
Ooh, that is good. That's really good. There is no way
So
to
look,
peace.
there
Peace
and
is the
look,
way.
as an addict, I don't know what peace is.
I gotta write
I,
that down.
you ready? Look, and look. It
I'll
was
write
at the
that
top of
down.
my list. There is no way to peace.
Me,
Dot
me,
dot
me,
dot.
me, me, me,
Peace
me.
is the way, God. That's the way. There's no way to
Yeah.
peace. Peace is the way. And I unfamiliar peace is uncomfortable to me because I'm so familiar in chaos as an addict. I'm so
Yeah.
fucking used to chaos that until I change, man, until I actively make an active change in myself as a person, in my mind, body, and spirit, here we go with that balance. I'm not going to be able to lean into that unfamiliar peace. I'm not going to be able to even recognize it as a good thing and then be able to lean into it on the backside of it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And so again, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. And if you don't have harmony, man, we're gonna have to make up for something. If we're not in a harmonious state, man, we're gonna be in some kind of stress, or some kind of
You either are in harmony
uncomfortableness.
or you're in dissonance, and
Right.
there's no middle.
Mm,
So in these
Yeah.
meetings, what do? Our primary purpose in these meetings is to maintain an atmosphere of recovery. I look at that as maintaining a harmonious balance in the group in these
Yep.
meetings.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
as a person chairing these meetings, my purpose is to make sure that if you are high in that meeting or if you're 50 years clean in that meeting, you're getting everything you need. And
Yeah.
it's about maintaining harmony and balance in that meeting, and knowing when and when not to step in, and the way you do it in a tactful, constructive way
Yeah.
helps maintain that balance. You can't come in like an asshole and be like, look, man, you can't fucking do that. No, it's look, thank you for being here. You look, this is how we do our meetings. We love you. Please sit
Yeah.
back and please don't unmute when some. There's a way to do it to maintain harmony, or you're just not having a good like you can either have a bad time or a good time. You're there. Like let's make this a fun thing because fun recovery can be fun, guys.
Fun covery.
And
Fun covery.
if I'm doing something that I don't particularly like to do, it's stressful to me, and I'm watching the clock while I'm doing it. If it's something that I
Mm,
love doing, it's passion. It's a passion for me, and you might have to pull me away from it. Right? I'm not looking at the clock at all. Right? It's just I'm going until somebody's like, bro, what's wrong with you? I've been working on the thing too long. Or like you've been on the phone, you've been on that meeting, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to keep this person alive. It's my higher power. It's not me. It's not me. It's not
That's
me.
why I don't like to put the 1 minute timer up for you because I like to hear you talk, and I know you will.
I do look at when she hosts and I start staring. I do look at she starts a timer, and then I always black out anyways because I just get off on a tangent.
Yeah.
And then I always look down at the clock's not on there ever. And then I just go, and that's okay. It's all right. But yeah,
I love to hear you talk. So
I love this topic, man, because it can go so many ways. It can go so many ways.
Mhm.
But it's how we we have 100+ spiritual principles. I'm starting to learn that the 4 cornerstones of mine are love, acceptance down here, begrudgingly, honesty's got to be in there, and then surrender is my jam right
Yeah.
now, man. That's my cornerstones, right? I want harmony. I need to maintain harmony and balance in all of that, right? I can't be just an old loving person but not accept myself. I can't be anything without honesty, right? And if I didn't surrender before I even got to the party, I don't
You're
even know how to read
using
those words. I don't even know how to read those words. I don't even know what those other 3 words mean. So I'm with it on the harmony thing, man. I am, my purpose for myself is to be better than I was yesterday. My purpose is not to be better than anybody else. It's to be better than the man I used to be.
Mm.
And one way that I do that is to try to continuously, actively be in a harmonious state. And my number one jam is love, man. I go right to that love spot. Love is the most powerful spiritual principle in this program. I started thinking about this the other day. I was in bed and I had this just epiphany, and I even wrote it down. Is there a more powerful word in this world than love? Tell me one.
Yeah. And that word's got a lot of power.
Well, I think you just dropped the damn mic there. Okay, Brandi, you got a question for me?
I'm done.
I do.
Can I go
Okay.
home? Can I go home? Can I go home now?
You are home.
Love you guys, man. I love y'all.
I love you. So I got a couple of them because I like to come prepared just in case.
Yep.
So with harmony in our life, what are some of your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to creating harmony in your life?
Okay. Some of my strengths. Well, I think that one of my strengths is like inclusivity. I make people part of and try to make people feel welcome, genuinely. Um, I think that I'm not afraid to express love. You know, like when I share, pretty much everybody gets "I love and appreciate you" at the end of their share, whether they're like it or not. I'm going to love them.
Yeah.
But and I think that offers, that just tries to set the tone for love in the situation, because you ain't stopping someone being a jerk by being a jerk, you know. You just got to smother them with love and acceptance, and then eventually they're like, "That's kind of tasty." You know, they're wiping it off, but some gets in their mouth, and they're like, "Whoa, that's actually pretty good tasting." Um, the times when I'm not good are when I'm intolerant of other people. You know,
Mm,
like nothing makes someone resent you like resenting them. You know, or putting an expectation on someone cuts you off from being present
hmm.
with them right there, because you're living in their future. You're living in their future and you're
Yeah.
already disappointed with it. So like that right there, puts you out of tune with them. You know, like I've always said, even before the program, I've always said if two people are arguing, I guarantee if I put a tuner up to like their resonant frequency at that time, they're out of tune with each other, which would imply a lack of harmony. And,
Mm,
so it's like anger makes me non harmonious for sure. And even with myself. And if I'm not harmonious with myself, then there's no going forward with how I'm going to be treating you. So
yeah.
yeah, I think I think that's pretty much it for me on that one.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So, you want to ask me, Miss Brandy? I
Hmm.
thought I
Hmm.
remember, but then I remembered that I didn't remember. So,
I
What's
remembered that I
Jesus.
didn't remember. That
Yeah,
was good.
buddy.
That was good. Okay,
Hashtag
what are
addict
some
problems.
of what are some of your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to creating harmony in your life?
Well, I bring the love, guys. I bring the love. That's a strength of mine. Love is a very harmonious thing, man. If you can bring love and have love in what you're doing, man, harmony is right there with it, man. It's just kind of like one of its buddies, you know.
Hmm.
Harmony is something that we got to create too, man. It's not something that's just gonna find us, kind of like balance. Look, here we go. Remember we said this on on our balance podcast. Balance is something you create, not find. And I know y'all had a little bit of a different spin on that, but you might have to find it. But my overall take in that is balance is something that you create.
Hmm.
Harmony is something that you create. Um, or at least in a group setting that you can help foster that, right? You can be a driving force to that, right? Like don't go to a meeting and you don't like the way it's being run, or you don't like the energy, and then you're going to want to leave and go talk shit about that meeting, and not act like you didn't get what you needed out of it. Share, put your influence on it, put your effort into that meeting, and make it more harmonious. If you think it needs to
Yeah.
be a more harmonious thing, then don't shy away from it. Put your effort into it, put your influence on it, try to make it what you think would be a more harmonious thing. You might help people out in that meeting, you might change that meeting. I've been to a meeting that was just half dead, not, there's 8 9 people there, nobody's, it's just a very it's kind of like that humglum circle that we see. And I don't find, look, that is in the minority here. When I go to a meeting, and I don't go to meetings that I've never been to a lot unless I'm asked to come, or one of my biggest things is, like Mr. Hodge, Orion Hodge, and a lot of people will hit me up with meetings that are struggling to stay alive.
Hmm.
Bro, my heart immediately activates when I hear, look, meeting is in need. you know me, Brandi, I gather up the wolves, man, and we go.
Yeah.
And like Mikey's meeting, the solution seekers, they were getting ready. He like have done, and now they're looking at 35 people in there just because this is what we do. Meeting makers make it, right? Yes, step workers recover, but meeting makers make it. You got to make it before you can step work and recover.
You
And
really brought a lot to our meeting too. When I mean, we were, you know, doing fine, but not great, which is okay. If we're there for one reason, that's recovery. But you really brought so much to it, you know, like, and stayed. So how lucky are we?
I did. I'm not going nowhere. Y'all can't get rid of me.
You
now.
were like embedded into it now.
Yeah. I just felt that, you know, and I was coming off of a bad situation at my last home group. And so y'all, you know, you made me feel at home, and it's what I needed at that time. Right. And look, my overall job here is to make you understand that, like, it's okay to live a life that most people don't understand. You with me? It's okay to live a life people don't understand, guys. Not everybody has to understand us, right? And if you think that, like, you need to, like, explain yourself all the time to everybody and shit, like, you don't have to. You don't have to, right? If there's people in your life that you care about and that you love and that you really do have close ties with, if they come at you with something that they feel is that something that you need to address, I would take that into consideration. But all this other shit out here, all this other fluff out here, you got to let that shit go. There's a lot of people that are super committed to misunderstanding you as a person. You got to let those people go, man, because you ain't gonna win that war. You're just gonna lose mental fortitude, and you're gonna lose harmony in your life because you're worrying about what that person's doing and thinking about, right? Yeah. So it's okay to live a life that most people don't understand. And here's what I do: is I try to live. It's kind of how I deal with my imperfections. Is how I can inspire others today. It's not telling people what to do, right? And I try to live it like this. And I don't know if you heard this when I said this the other day to Brandi, but if someone could only see your actions and not hear your words, what would they say about you as a person?
I like that. I was that stuck with me, because that's like, I like questions that make you go. Like,
you think about that, Milan? Like, look, if someone could only see your actions and not hear your words, what would they say about you as a person?
They'd say I walk a lot of dog and play a lot of music, man. That's what the fuck they say about me.
And do a lot of recovery. And he got recovery fever.
That's right.
Oh, man. And he's not a fool with no tools no more. The dude's got tools now, man. But it's about, you know, it's your priorities, your values, your attitudes and behaviors that come along with that. That is going to show you who you are as a person, right? And so that's where the kind of like the goodwill piece comes in a little bit too. You know, doing the right thing regardless of whether anybody's looking, because God's looking. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in God, keep coming back, because I know He believes in you, bro. Because He's watching everything. Right. He's watching everything. And so. And then I do know on the whole surrender part, as it relates to that, you can't let go if you don't hold on, right? Like, you can't let go if you don't hold on. But I do know you can't hold on to anything if you don't continually let go. Got to always let go, man.
Oh, that was good.
I told you I was
like, ooh, and then you said the other part. I'm like, oh.
I told you I was in a spicy good mood today. And
I love it.
I got some zingers today, some heaters today. I will say that one more time. Look, I do know you cannot let go if you don't hold on, guys. You can't let go if you don't hold on, right? But I do also know you can't hold on to anything if you don't continuously let go and surrender. Right? You got to let go.
Yeah.
Got to let go. And so, I'm kind of getting on a tangent on this one. This has been one of those things that when I started feeling that harmonious feeling in my life, whether it was with other people inside of NA, outside of NA, in my workplace, it was a feeling that I wanted. When I got it, I didn't let go. I don't want to let go of that feeling. You know, it's a good feeling. It's a good straw to grab onto and to hold on to that ride through this thing harmoniously, and not be fighting and dodging and ducking and all this shit, man. You know, live harmoniously, man. Grab onto the people that are riding your way. Don't fight the current. Yeah. You know, learn how to float. Let go. I'm done. That's you, Mr.
That reminded me of the turtles in Finding Nemo. You know, like
yes.
That's the first thing I was like, yes. I love that.
Cool. Oh yeah.
And you,
Okay,
Brandi?
so I'll answer my question. So some of my strengths, weaknesses in creating harmony in my life. I think a lot of my strengths come from my past weaknesses because, I know I got something to compare to where I know where I can work on stuff and where I don't want to be or where I want to be. And for me too, like when it comes to, balance and the love for the next person, like being able to like just kind of, I guess, say loose, like go with the flow with stuff, but it makes it work out. Is just like Andrew said, like the love for other people. Like I've always been able to look at somebody and I try to think about not necessarily like I go back to like my first day somewhere. Like I just think about the feeling that they're feeling. Like we all know what that feels like to come somewhere like to a meeting and not even know what to expect and or how to act really, like we could be free, but there's a certain way to act for sure. And to be able to like be there when someone makes mistakes, but also I gotta be able to be light on myself. So that's a big one. But when it and balance is having balance, like I would think a big part for me that I think I can put into my own is thinking about like what was I gonna say? I just lost that thought. But anyways, just being able to address everything and but without a way that it's in a panic mode, so I know what I want when it comes to harmony. Like I said, I go off of my past experiences. And so, but I just bring in the fact that like I do love and I do care, like a genuine care, and I what's the best for all around, and I also know a big strength I think for me is I know that I can't do all of it on my own. Like I want more people in my boat of harmony. And so, and the I'm loyal to my program, but when I'm loyal to my own program, it helps me be there for another person. And that's even when it comes to my family, like I mean, love is a very strong word, but like if we were to like put it in a like I care, I genuinely care. Like I give a shit. I'll just say it like that. I give a shit. And I just think things work better in that way. So I strive for it, like I'm not okay with being wobbly and things. And I'm a very optimistic person. Like I can be like, if you tell me that like, the today's shit, like we were talking about earlier, like no, but I mean it is if you say it is, but it's like I just like to look on the other side. And I think being optimistic and positive is a big strength for harmony because sometimes it's not like sometimes it's hard to get to harmony, It's a trial
Yeah.
and error sometimes. But like I'm like, well, we'll just try it again. Just try it again. Like do a little bit more over here, do a little less over there. But then I also believe that my weaknesses could easily be which affects me is people pleasing, like I've been able to find a balance in my people pleasing character defect. I didn't think it was a character defect till I started working the program, but I can want to please people, like I was saying, like I don't want to do too many meetings so then my husband and my kids feel like left out. Like I was pretty much not present when I was using, so now I'm not present when I'm not using. But then I also really love to do meetings. I say need to, but I get to. Like so I want to do more, or and then I try to stay home more. And so I just want to make everybody fucking happy. And in the end, I'm left with whatever little bit is left. Like I get the crumbs left. And so though I have to think about myself, I do because I think my ultimate balance and harmony and peace flows out from me, like I can't write on someone else's harmony. I just can't. It's just not going to get me anywhere.
I can see it on
So
your face. I can see it on your face. I can see the way I'm seriously, when
yeah,
you talk about your struggles and you have
yeah,
this glow about you when you talk about it. And it's like, I know that woman is working the program, man. I know
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, and that's and I appreciate my struggles and not in the moment, but I do when I get through them,
You can tell.
and talk about them. And but so it's important for me to be able to give myself that part also because like it's not all about me. Like it's funny because another way that it balances, like it's not all about me, but it really, for me personally, it starts from right here, and I think that when you get a bunch of addicts in one room, or even even my family in one room, and they're all starting from here with the harmony, like it can flow out, and all it's kind of like then it all aligns together, and there's bad days where I don't see harmony really. I get stuck in my head, and but a strength I get from it is I know that I know that in that moment it's not forever, if I can be, if I choose for it to be. And so yeah, it's definitely the fact that I want people to feel what I feel when I, in the harmony of my recovery and in my life. And I want to share it with everybody. And I want a piece of it also. But then I also want everybody to be happy. And I usually give myself the last piece. So it kind of goes, there's both ways to it, but it's a constant thing. It's a constant work. Like we surrendering, like we don't just do it one time. Like I find my harmony and my balance in life. I've had to rebalance so many different things, but I'm constantly striving for it. And I after many times of failing it, I've found a way to be able to balance things, even if it's a new situation. I know I got to balance it, and it's better for me.
But you got that strong foundation. The house can get blown down in the hurricane at any time, and many times. As long as you got that strong foundation, you build that bitch right back up, man.
Yep, that's a good way to say it.
It's also like when you start doing yoga and you go to do that one-legged pose the first time and you're all wobbly, and then a month later it's like, I am the tree.
Yeah.
Yep. You knew what
like
muscles,
you don't build those little balance muscles without practice.
And your feet, everything, all that shit goes into it, man.
Yeah, I never looked at it as like your practice, like you're strengthening it, because that's the way what you guys both just said, like the foundation and then the practice of it. It makes that when something new arises,
you're like, I can balance. I just lean a little more that way.
Yeah,
I just give a little bit more like that.
Makes harmony.
And it's not something new.
Yeah.
It becomes like a muscle memory of like, I can just react this way, in the same way of like learning to take that pause before exploding,
what you're doing is you're taking your mind, that our disease, that mind, you're taking that away from the equation, man. You're just rolling right into it.
Okie dokie, Andrew. Over time, we gain a keener understanding of what it means to live in harmony with our beliefs. Even when we share our lives with others, our willingness to fulfill our responsibility to ourselves determines our ability to feel love and to be satisfied with our lives. It's the integrity with which we live our lives that is important. How do you see integrity and harmony fitting together?
Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm not living with integrity, I'm not going to be able to walk around in this world with my head held high and my shoulders back, right? Because if I'm not doing, if I don't apply integrity to what I'm doing, I'm a bad person. I'm not a good dude, right? Integrity is a very, very important, powerful word too. Powerful word. That comes with knowing I'm not it. The surrender piece that comes with knowing that my brain is not my friend. Half of my brain is selling bullshit, the other half is buying that bullshit. And if I'm coming from a place where like I'm answering those questions to myself and we're like out having a party together, there's no integrity going on, right? Like I'm out doing something I shouldn't be doing. I make a lot of meetings, Brandi. I stay tapped into this fellowship, man. There's a lot of days where I can get off and I get off track quick and I get caught in my head, and y'all reel me right back in, man. I put too much effort into the people of this program, and then in turn they've put a lot of effort into me, and that has kept me in the game, man. Yeah. I have a choice because I didn't pick up today. I can keep it real simple. I can keep it so simple. We can complicate a fart, Brandi, can't we?
That's
We
right. We
talked about
could.
that shit
It's
before.
so
Man,
funny.
I can outthink that bitch, and halfway I'll be wanting to come out my elbow by the time it's going on. Then everything's complicated, right? So it's so funny. You know, but I have a choice today, Brandi. Why? Because I didn't pick up. As soon as I pick up my choice to be a good person, my choice to brush my teeth goes away. You know what I mean? Like I'll be out thinking whether I should brush my teeth. Like we shut the show down as soon as we use substances, and that's any substance. I can't use anything, man. I have a disease of more. You know, I can't have a new reality of life with an old mentality, right? I cannot create a new reality with an old mentality. So I have got to come in here and take these suggestions, if not just one at a time. I gotta take them. The only suggestions we pay for are the ones we don't take, right? And here's what I also heard: look, fear does not stop death; it stops life. Fear does not stop death; it stops life, right? And if it costs me my peace today, we talked about this peace again. If it costs me my peace today, man, that shit's too expensive. I don't even want to know the price of it. I don't want to know the price. Don't even ask me. I don't have enough money. If it costs me my peace today, label it too expensive for me. Because if it's chaotic, that's where my disease is going to come back in and kind of grab a hold of it. And then we're going to want to go have a party by ourselves, right? And get isolated. So here's my thing, man, is I got to surround my people with helpless people. I'm not going to find help hanging out with helpless people. I'm not going to find hope hanging out with hopeless people. We see a lot of them in these rooms, and I love them as I do anyone else. Because I love everybody. I don't like everybody. I love everybody. Because we want to help them get to that point, right? But I would rather adjust my life to your absence than like try to adjust my boundaries to accommodate your disrespect of me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's going to create boundaries. That's going to create harmony for myself because I'm not wrapped up in your shit and what you're thinking about me. Who cares? Who cares what that person thinks about? If it's not your boss or somebody direct, your loved one, your wife, your mother, who cares? Don't adjust to their expectations.
I have a no shithead policy in my life.
There
I
you
really
go.
do. I have a no shithead policy. So I'm fine adjusting my life to the absence of people who are abusive in it. No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully aware that like there's gonna be people in this world that would rather lose me than come clean with how they have treated me or disrespected me in the past. And I'm okay with that. I gotta let them go. I gotta let them go. Because I've said this before, some people can pinpoint everything out that's wrong with you, but when they want to come to their own problems, the pen don't work.
The pen don't work. That's right. Yeah.
They want to pinpoint out everything that's wrong with you, but look, they start writing on their own shit. Pen don't work. They want to take your inventory all day. But look, it's funny because right when they get done with your inventory and they go to do theirs, that motherfucker writes clear. It ain't there. You know what I mean? So manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction and not their toxic behavior, right? They don't want to address or discuss the disrespect that triggered you to get into that conversation. So I don't even know why I got off on that. I love you guys.
I like it.
You want me to repeat the question, Ben?
Please.
Sorry, Milan.
Oh, it's okay. Over time, we gain a keener understanding of what it means to live in harmony with our beliefs. Even when we share our lives with others, our willingness to fulfill our responsibility to ourselves determines our ability to feel love and be satisfied with our lives. It's the integrity with which we live our lives that is important. How do you see integrity and harmony fitting together?
They, I feel like they're a big part of each other in a way of like, am I really going to get real harmony and balance if I'm doing things that go against my integrity? Like, is it even possible? And that's a big part of finding harmony and peace and everything is me understanding what my beliefs are, what I want in my life, what I don't want in my life. And also knowing that I'm worth wanting and not wanting things in my life. Because there was a time and when all I wanted was one thing and I didn't really care how it happened or who I hurt or what balance I've messed up. it was all about just like the one thing, the getting high, doing, where am I going to get this next? But today, like I know that I am worthy, like, loved, and what I say matters. If not to anyone else, I know it says to myself. And I'm worth being able to you know expand areas of my life and keep some type of a balance in it. Like I have that ability. And so without integrity, would I even know what harmony was? Would I even know what to strive for? What cup to fill more and which one to split into two, or however? Like I didn't even think that in active addiction, like when I was at my lowest, like I didn't, there was no concept of balance in my life at all. At all. It was just trying to get by without flat out being caught or having to, stop the life I was living and actually give a shit about what I'm doing to other people and especially what I'm doing to myself. And in order to kind of maintain the this feeling that I'm not feeling, but like the way I live life today, it's important to be able to remember um how important I am, I guess, in my own balance and things, because I could easily just go off the wall or just be like shut down, just go, okay, yes, okay, that's fine, to everybody. But really, it's just like it's like living in a robot, like there's no substance to it. And I think without integrity in my life and the way I look at myself, where I was, where I am, where I want to go be, and who I associate with and led into my life, without feeling a certain way and standing on morals that I didn't think I had until I got clean, I won't be able to balance anything, And I think we all kind of strive without realizing it. We all strive for like a harmony in life, because, and that's where, like, me having to learning to self-soothe instead of finding something to soothe me. And I kind of look at it, if I'm going to go off, but on the same topic, like, because I'm a little bit of a freak in my house. Like if I walk in, like if I clean the living room, we'll say, like I dusted, moved things, did everything. And I walk into the living room and I'm like, oh, like I'll walk in that room a couple times so I can feel that same feeling. And I and I think
I
about
do
that,
that too.
like, so like that feeling, that's what I think of when I think of harmony. And but it's expanded to way more than just my living room, like in my relationship, in my meetings, in my kids, like that feeling that I get and from it, and that's me, standing on my standards and not, I should say standards. I sound like a drill sergeant, but like, what I want. I know what I want. My family, they're just like, okay, but it gives me harmony, big time. And like I was saying before, like when I would tell my kids, and and it's funny, but it's actually real. When it's messy here, like in the house, and it's messy here, and so when it's chaotic, and there's no harmony, like I'm not gonna walk through the house feeling this sense of like harmony floating me through. No, I'm gonna stop every corner and be like, what the hell?
Mhm.
So to take it outside of my living room, like life for me is like that also. And it's what I put into it. I can't walk into a meeting and expect everybody to be, all balanced in harmony and like, it's that's not how it is.
Brandy has
What
a
is it for
rod.
me?
Mhm.
Yeah, right. It's what is it for me? You know? And so it's definitely something that I think that they go well together, because how do I know what harmony is, what balance I want in my life without having some type of integrity? And so
Yeah, I
that's
love
my
that.
answer.
That's beautiful.
Awesome. And for me, how do I see integrity and harmony fitting together? It's it's like this. It's like when I'm somewhere and it's like, ah, you know, um, I'm literally feeling like I'm pulsing with the rest of the universe around me
Mm,
instead of fighting my way through it. And, the biggest thing is, when I'm laden with intolerance and expectations of other people, I am never in harmony because I'm not even listening to the sound of their frequency. I'm just trying to project mine. I'm like a fucking loudspeaker with a microphone in it going, you know, instead of like, hey, you want to come up and do a duet? You know,
Yeah, I like
That's a
that.
great
That
point.
was
That's a great
good.
point.
That was good.
and so, you know, like it's an inside job for me to start turning into an outside job, you know,
Hmm.
and if I'm if I'm not in tune with myself, there's no way I'm in tune with you, you know, and
Yeah.
is really, integrity is the harmony between my spirit and my actions,
Hmm.
you know, that's the starting point of that actually becoming in tune with everything else. And so if I'm trying to move forward on a principled life, you know, trying to plow my way through the world, making it in tune with me is never a good feeling. You know, like it never feels like harmony. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nothing's going my way today. And it's because it's fucking universe isn't my way. You know, how's it going our way? How can I be part of the way it's going? You know,
Yeah, I like that.
and just changing my attitude to that. And you know, pets are a really good indicator of how I'm acting. Like if I'm out walking my dogs and I'm like ticked off, they're stopping too much and not coming, and I'm like, whoa, Milan's in a fucking bad way, you know? But like when I'm just like, oh, look at them fucking playing over there. Come on, do whatever you want. We're gonna get home when we get home. You know,
Yeah.
like that's the difference in my days. And so it's like I'm like, okay, gotta recalibrate, gotta relax here. You know, might have to do another meditation, might need another meeting, might need a call with my sponsor, or most of all, I probably need to do more service because I'm fucking thinking a lot about myself. You
I
know?
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I love that.
And
I think
yeah,
about that now, but I let my dog out because there's
oh, yeah.
times I'm like, come on, let's go. And other times I'm like, oh, you're silly.
I do
Yeah,
it all the
like
time.
I'm just like what like I'm like this dog is like thinking who's Jekyll and where's Hyde? Like I'm like,
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I always feel bad. I always feel terrible when I do that too. But it's like, damn it,
Yeah.
I got to get to work on time. But well, why didn't you wake up
Yeah.
earlier, asshole?
yeah, mine, like you know,
Yeah.
I'm like
Right?
I try to go for my walk 10 minutes earlier than I need to give the dog like happy
Extra
buffer
time.
time.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, you got
yeah.
to take 2 shits instead of 1. Let's do this.
Oh
Come on.
my, how's about you
Yeah.
just lay it all down the road?
Yeah.
Are you ready for me to ask you a question now, Brandi, or we're gonna
Yeah,
go
yeah,
around? All right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Miss Brandi, how have you been able to create balance and harmony between your two lives, your life inside of this fellowship and outside of the fellowship? Now that's tough. That's tough for everybody, me specifically too. But how have you been able to create that balance and harmony? And what does that look like to you today, for you today?
Definitely what I think about kind of right away when you said it was like, um, like they say, like when you're in recovery the first year, you shouldn't date anybody kind of thing. And I understand why, because like you got to work on yourself and like there's so much and you change and you grow and stuff like that. But like and I say this, like I love my family. I'm grateful I still have my family. But I feel a little robbed in that department. Like I had to come in and work my recovery and be a mom and be a wife and and work, actually work it and then all these different things. And so really, I've found a way to find a balance by fucking up, by making somebody mad at one point, or like what is it like when it comes to service even? Like you don't know you've overcommitted until you've overcommitted. Because I've done that. I've had to pull back in service before,
That's a
and
great
be like,
point.
I
Great point.
yeah, like I can't do this. I'm sorry. Like I want to, but if I do, then it's going to take away from somewhere else in my life, and that's why like I keep a minimum amount of sponsees because if I have so many, then each of them are going to get a little piece of me, and So it's really just, knowing what works, because there could be like, I don't think there's like a direct formula of it, because we all have different lives. We all have different things in our lives. And so, and I can't say one's more important than the other, because I wouldn't have my family without my without recovery at all. And, I wouldn't, I wouldn't even have my recovery without my family, because they're one of the main reasons why I came into this program in the first place. But it's being okay with finding a balance in life, instead of just expecting it to be there. Like there's a lot of times that my family, I had let them down. I can't tell you how many times I told my husband, I swear to God, I'd never use again. And I did it. And so with that, it's like there's all these different elements into what I'm saying and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to achieve at the end of the day, I guess, if we just take it the one day at a time, but there's so much benefit to it at the same time, like I would be I'd be resentful towards my husband at first when he would give me crap about all the meetings I do. And but right now it's like I just I find a balance in it, you know what I mean? And now when it comes to my family, and it comes to the meetings that I do, or when I'm with other people like sponsees or my sponsor, uh, it's kind of like they've all jumped on board, because I've made sure I have make them an equal part of my life. They don't get, the crumbs that I could leave myself sometimes, but also I got to make sure that I don't do that to myself, because my family's happy, my recovery is happy, and I'm happy, but I'm still hungry, and it's a big one. So to be able to try all different ways, and but in the end wanting the same result, I feel like been able to find it. And when it like we were selfish when we were using, and we're selfish when we're recovery, but I think our goals are just a lot different. And
Yeah.
and to think about other people and how they're feeling, like how my actions make someone feel, it helps me with my actions. And in the end, it's it works out. It's like the puzzle's done. Now I'll just tear it apart and start over.
You can use that same savage mentality that you did as working towards your drugs as you can towards your recovery, right? And maintaining that harmony and balance. I love it.
That's why I don't put anything in front of my recovery. Like my family is very important to me, very important. But whatever I put in front of my recovery, my addiction will take away from me first.
You're gonna take it. Yep. You're gonna lose that first. You're gonna lose that first. Remember that, guys. And you speak on that a lot, Brandi. I love how you do bring it up a lot when it's really and it's pertinent to that day. It really is a great message that you bring when you talk about that. I love it.
Well, I think we can easily feel good about like how what we're doing. Like, like I got this in the bag. Like, I can stop doing this and do more of this now. And that's why I stay in service also, because if I don't not in service, I could easily start putting things in front of my recovery.
Complacency.
Do that.
Complacent ass in the seat.
Yeah.
Complacent ass in the seat.
That was good.
You ready, Mr. Milan?
I am. I just want to say one thing before I forget, Brandi. So you always say, how free do you want to be? And I don't know if Andrew told you, but we had this guy, Chris from Portland on. And he said, he had a real quick response. He's like, I think you basically are as free as your level of surrender.
He said directly proportional to your level of surrender.
Yeah, that's good.
If you want to be totally free, just get surrendering. It's like a strip poker surrender.
That was the beginning of this whole surrender movement wave that we're going through right now. That was the start of it, Milan.
Yeah, it was.
We didn't even know, because it bled into the next episode when we were talking about it.
I know. Yep.
So
I love that.
How have you been able to create balance in which is balance and harmony in your life, obviously inside, but also outside of NA? Because I know a lot of people really struggle, even with significant clean time, of having a balance between that life inside and outside the fellowship.
So, okay, first of all, my family was pretty supportive of, me being solid on my recovery, because they really didn't want me to die. They were like, holy shit, you're actually living, and you're like,
thanks, family.
You're straight and happy. They just like things they never thought they'd see. So, I never did the over extent of meetings. Like, like I wasn't single. I didn't come into recovery by myself. I came in with my wife and my
Hmm.
daughter and like my parents living here and her dad living here, and working. Like, I didn't lose my job either. And so, like, a meeting a day with, two on the days that I did in person. That was kind of my constant, you know. Um, but where it got out of balance was when I started sponsoring. And
Mm.
because it was like, boom, I had one. And then boom, somebody asked, and it was two. Boom, it was three. And then all of a sudden in 1 week, it went from three to five. And five was insane. Like, five was too
Yeah.
much.
Too much.
It was too much. And you know what? Like, it wasn't like I was missing appointments with them though. Like, to be honest, they were the ones missing appointments. But when they would, instead of being like, whoa, I'm super worried about the cow, I was like, ooh, I need a little break. Like, I was
Oh my
actually
Yeah.
God. I 100% feel what you're saying right now.
But you don't say that to anybody. You're like, yes. If
No.
you turn on the radio and sit
I
down
was
and
like,
relax.
okay, honey, but watching a movie now. Like,
Yeah,
what? But
that's funny.
so
It's
now it's
real.
toned down to two. I'm back down to two, and I'm in
Good for
like,
you. Good for you.
and honestly, like, until those two get to a point where they don't need me right now, that's what I'm keeping it at.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I stop and
Me
I give
too.
people my
That's what I
number, and
have. That's all
I
I got.
tell
Yep.
people all the time, I'm like, hey man, you need someone to talk to. I'm like, I'll answer your call. I'm like, but I'm not using the S word, and I'm not putting my hand up at
Yeah.
meetings right now because I just know that now, especially, like, boom, then here we have the podcast. And this, I mean, man, I'm doing 4 of these a week, for sometimes
Yeah.
5, and some weeks 6 if it's a crazy week. And that's like a couple hours of that day, including all the computer work and stuff. So what I'm trying to do though is definitely make sure that I'm time managing correctly, in the
Mm.
sense that it's like, okay, you know, this is a time of day where um, it's generally in between different appointments that I'm doing, and my wife likes to nap at this time. This is a good time to do a podcast. Or I'll do it early enough that it's like just not even on anybody's radar that I've done it. Like, they haven't even got their day going yet. So it's,
Yeah.
and then as well is it's also making sure that, hey, this, making everybody aware of what time is set aside for what. So it's not a
Yeah.
surprise. It's not like, oh shit, I'm not coming to dinner that night because I'm doing this. It's like, I don't accept the invitation to dinner if I'm doing something else. But like setting that expectation, like, oh, you want to do something with that couple? Okay, well, we've got, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And that's, like, that's the options. And if they don't want to do it then I'm okay with not doing it. But,
Yeah.
like, it's definitely trying to have boundaries and set expectations, and also make their time feel as awesome as their not time. Yeah.
That was
Love that,
beautifully
man.
answered.
That was
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
great.
I love that,
Hmm.
man. Y'all really hit it and took all my answers. So I'm gonna kind of say that, but change it up a little bit. So y'all, Brandi, you talked about the meeting part of it. When I first came into this program and I was making meetings, um, I remember that was like my only lifeline. When I left rehab and I walked back out into this painting, quote unquote, that I just left before I walked into rehab. You know, I'm so grateful that God hit me with meetings in my head, right? I'm like, I got to get to a meeting, got to get to a meeting. And he didn't go, got to get the drugs, got to get some more drugs. So I came in
Mm.
here and I started making meetings. And at first, my family was kind of in my ass about, like, aren't you going to go to some meetings? Aren't you going to go to some meetings? Aren't you going to go to some meetings? Right. And I'm like, yes, yes. Um, and come full circle now that, because I'm coming up on 3 years clean now. And I've been doing a lot of work on myself, and people see the change in my life. Right.
Mhm.
And it's come full circle to the point where now, like at a certain times, if I'm not in a meeting, I'll have people in my family hunt me down. Like, bro, I've not seen you in a meeting at this time
When you're
slot
not
for
in a meeting,
years.
like I'm like, where is he? Is he okay?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
strange, man. So that, bro, that just makes my whole body just kind of like feel good, right? Because I've changed the perception of who I am, right? I've changed who I thought everyone was gonna always think I was,
Mm,
right? Like, and I used to be embarrassed about that. You know, I used to be embarrassed, and why? Because I just wasn't right in the head, right? There's no reason to be embarrassed about what you're going through, man. Everybody's gonna go through something.
yeah.
Nobody is born and then just dies not going through shit. Everybody's gonna go through shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like our problems aren't the biggest things going in this world, right? That everyone is having these same problems, if not way worse problems than we are, man. You know, losing arms and legs and cancer. Like, come on, you go to a cancer ward and tell patients you just need to go to a few meetings, 90 a night, go to 90 meetings in 90 days, get a good friend that you can really rely on and ask the really tough questions, and read 7 books and do a little step work, do a worksheet a day. We wouldn't have cancer. There would be no cancer in the world, right? And so we want to think, because it's not a terminal disease, which it is. Yeah, I don't know why anybody's thinking it's not. This
It
disease is
is. Yeah.
going anywhere. We're gonna die with this disease, but we don't want to die because of it, Brandi. It's a lot different than
Yep.
dying because of it and dying with it. Because when you die with it, you can die with some integrity. That's an integrity piece
Yeah.
to talk about, man. And so people see when you're working a program, right? And it's about telling me in your recovery without telling me in your recovery.
Hmm.
Because I see you working a program, and you're living a different way of life. People know that I show up today. People know what to expect out of me. You know what I say when I'm saying. My words are my focus today. And so I create a balance by just living my life by these spiritual principles. I consistently help people out, and it was an uncomfortable thing at first because my family's like, you don't have any time for us, but then they're going, that's an amazing ass dude right there. Like
Yeah.
they hear it, they see it, you know, they don't understand it until it's like, God, he's doing this every day and every day. And now they're like they're like my little army. They're my little, you know, the people like my mother and like friends of hers that have like family members that have issues. Like I've got 15 basic texts ready to go right now. You know what I mean? Like I've got basic texts to give to people. I'm not throwing the NA message out there with it tattooed on my forehead trying to bring the world in, but if somebody needs help, all of my good, close family know that I'm the dude. I'm the dude.
Yeah. You're
In
the
terms
dude.
of, in
Dude.
terms of, I'll give, and they don't even know how to call me and ask me. They just go, Andrew, your Uncle Tom, this is their Daniel was talking to us, and we think she needs one of those blue books that you have. We might need to give her a book. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, she needs a basic text. She needs it. She
Yeah.
said, well, would you mind reaching out to her? And I'm like, you don't have to ask me. Look, those people, just give them my number and let me know that they're going to call me. And then I'll get them a basic text, maybe tell them about some meetings. And so that's where that has created harmony in my life, inside and outside of these rooms. I mean, I have my mother has been asking me how to work a 12-step program in her life, telling me that, my mother was
Yeah.
a submarine force, 35 years. Like she's got her shit
Woo.
together, but she sees how it's a consistent work on an effort on my part, and I'm a happier person every day. I'm a happier, more
Mm.
joyous person every day. I live in that gratitude lane. I'm so grateful, and there's no angles anymore. I don't have all these transactional relationships anymore. Grateful for that, man. I'm grateful for that. When I'm not worrying about all like that, who owes me money and I owe them money, and who I took money from, and where the drugs are coming from, and when I'm going to feel sick and when I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
able to live in that 6 or 7, Milan, that serenity spot that we we die for. That's my spot, man. I'm much more apt to be in that comfortable spot, man, if I'm not worrying about all this other outside influences that shouldn't even be there anyways, right? I created them in my life because I use drugs, man.
Yeah.
I use drugs because I wanted to. And then it became a habit. Then it became a necessity. I could not use drugs. But then I got clean, right? Full circle. I got clean out of a necessity because I'm thrown in jail or whatever it is. Went to it, almost drove my shit off a bridge. Then it became a habit. And now, guys, what do we live clean, right? Because we want to.
Yeah.
Right? We want to live clean. It's a beautiful thing. I'll pass
It's
it
like
to
I
you.
say, like it's a miracle that I'm clean, but it's more of a miracle that I want to be clean.
Because you could go out, right? I could go get drugs right now. I could go use right now.
Yeah.
I know where they're all at. I want to be.
But today we
I
want to
want
be
this.
clean.
I
Yeah.
want this. This is not a joke. We're not like pushing. We're not for, the court doesn't have us here. We're not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
come on with it. Bring your ass. Let's go.
You got a question
All
for
right.
me, Brandi?
I do. What are some of the things you can do to better understand yourself and your needs?
Ooh.
Say it again.
So what are some of the things you can do to better understand yourself and your needs?
Okay. For me, I would say obviously right off the bat, the step work. Like, I had really no clue who myself was until I really did a thorough set of the steps. And so anybody out there who's new and just tuning in, you're going to hit step 4, and it's the fearless moral inventory that makes you fear less. But it's really a remarkable tool for actually getting to know what's going on inside you. And what was the very end of the question? Sorry,
No, you're good. Understanding yourself and your needs.
yeah. And so I took some couples counseling back in the fall with my wife, and one of the things that the counselor got us to do was to go back and think of our earliest 2 good memories and our earliest 2 bad memories. And what that does is that'll show you someone's needs. Like those 2 memories, what you liked about that and what you didn't like about those 2 memories are some of your most basic needs that you'll carry with you into being an adult. And so, like, first of all, he said, do you know what her earliest 2 good memories are? Do you know what her earliest 2 worst memories are? You probably don't know her 2 greatest needs and dislikes. And so I recommend this for any couple out there. Like it really just enlightened me to like, you can do whatever you want for someone, but if you don't know what their needs are, you're just like lottery. Am I winning with being this way to them? Or am I like, it's just by chance that you're going to make them happy, or you could just know what makes them happy and act on it. Like, and actually make their needs part of your intentions, so so that to me taught me a little bit about myself too. And actually, because I didn't know that about anybody. I thought that was a really great way to, and in some ways it's kind of like when you do the step work, you find your part in things, and reflecting back, like, that counselor got us to, you learn why you like things or don't. Because most of your preferences are set up in early childhood, like most people hate something because they were scared by something as a kid or there was something negative. So, it's a good way to look back on that. But, also too, one of the things that I definitely see for myself is things that tick me off about other people. I'm like, well, I must be doing that. The things you don't like about yourself most of the time.
Yeah.
And so when I'm really getting irritated by somebody, I'm like, whoa, like I look and I'm like, where am I being like that in my life? And then that's, generally pointing me in a direction of needs addressing Milan. Because
Little post-it note in the head.
yeah, it's like circle back and look at that because you're really acting defectively on this. So yeah, I think that's my answer on that one.
I like it.
Love it. I'll take the question again.
All right. What are some things that you can do to better understand yourself and your needs?
Talk to other addicts, right? It's a simple, the quickest way out of my own depression is a simple, meaningful conversation with somebody. So when I have a conversation with somebody, I can, um, I can either agree or disagree with their situation, and then it can allow me to, if I'm looking for the help, then I can take what they're saying and I can try to create harmony in my life by taking what they've gone through and either trying to implement that or going another way with it, right? In a healthy, harmonious way. And having a good relationship, being able to fit those things together. Being able to come to an arrangement with myself, a pleasing or a consistent arrangement with myself. I'm not waking up every day doing different things, right? I'm staying organized and consistent. I do the same things every morning to get me out of bed. I make my bed. I get in the shower, after, I pray. I do the same things every morning, and it creates just a level of serenity and balance and just overall calmness to my day. If I don't do that, because I still find myself getting stressed out, even though I have all those plans in place. I'm consistently late. I have a problem being late. That is something. I will. The earlier I wake up for work, the later I am to work.
Yeah,
That's how I'm an addict. I will find my brain. I will literally be sitting there and I will find a way to bullshit, fuck with my dog, or do something. And I'll even my brain in it really hard, like in a really strong way, will tell me this is what you're doing to make sure that you're late to work today. A little bit, like, because I have to be stressed out going to work or something. I have to create some kind of stress because I'm not using drugs anymore. I'm not stressed to go get the
chaos addiction.
I got it's
Yeah.
we are addicted to chaos, man. And so there's where we try to bring in that peace, man. You gotta find peace and harmony, man. This is a program of surrender, not self-improvement, Milan. So we have to surrender constantly. If I'm not trying to like work on myself, like dumb this down. Yes, we're working on ourselves, right? But if I'm surrendering, it's a lot easier to surrender than to like be constantly working on what I think's wrong with me.
Yeah.
If I can surrender and take it as it comes,
practice letting go instead of working on ourselves. It's like, that's what I've been seeing. That's been my message the whole last week, is that I've got to practice letting go. I'm being close to my higher power. Then I have to be like being so hard on myself, trying so much, it's like.
And it's so beautiful, Milan, because what you just said, it's like a feeling. Like you don't even have to say that. It's like you know what you have to do, and it's almost like a breath of fresh air, right? Isn't it just knowing, look, I have to concentrate on surrendering to this thing, right? Very important, very specific.
It's brought more peace into my week, just that conversation with Tom and thinking about it since then.
Yeah, and there's our therapeutic value, guys. We come here and these things build on each other, right? And somebody might be listening and that's going, yes, bring that shit, because I'd much rather out surrender something than like try to lift weights and get stronger so I can hold this boulder on my shoulder in my backpack and carry it around me all day. It's much better to let go, right? There's no weight, let go, learn how to float. Remember, learn how to float. You don't fight the water, you're not flailing about. You just, once you finally let go, your body just kind of rises to the top of the water and you float on that water. So we're doing in recovery is we float by letting go, and it creates harmony. And so I don't even know what got me to that tangent. I totally blacked out right there. That was amazing. But yeah, so I'm in a consistent state of surrender. I'm so grateful that I'm not in jail or somewhere where I have to be in a facility, that I'm woken up at a certain time and have to eat at a certain time. So I know once he gives me that self-will, if I don't give it back to him, I will find myself back in those institutions and places that I do that, because again, give it to me for 5 minutes, I'm going to want it for 10. I just give it right back. I give it right back, man, because then I can breathe again and go on with my day as I did the day before, knowing I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have a little bit of love, and I'm going to be in line with my spiritual principles because I'm working a program today, man, and people know what to expect out of me today, and I'm grateful for that, man. So grateful for you guys. Look, I love you guys, man. I fucking love you guys.
Boom, boom. Loving you guys.
Yes. Who we on? Where we at?
Brandi's got to answer her question.
Oh, I got to answer my question. Okay.
Yeah.
What are some things that I can do to better understand myself and my needs?
Paint rocks, not smoke them.
That's right. That's right. You guys both definitely hit on a lot of the way I feel like I can understand myself, like the steps, the steps, man. I remember telling my sponsor after each step, I was like, this is the one that changed me. And I got to about step 10 when I realized I said that through all of them. And by then by then I realized how important they are, and why they're in order for a reason and stuff. But, that's with me also remaining teachable and open-minded and mindful. With all of that, it helps me understand who I am. Like I've done a lot of work with my sponsor on my internally on myself. We'll just bring it back to the people pleasing. I had to acknowledge that was a character defect because of how it made me feel. It wasn't I wasn't being pleased at all. I'd be so mad at myself for saying yes to something. And then it would go back to, I went back to well, I don't care if people like me. Well, I people please because I care if people like me. And I didn't like to admit that because I didn't want to admit that I cared if people liked me, so it's that kind of stuff of being able to be open and dig a little deeper on how I feel about something and find out where it comes from, why I feel that way, why things make me sad, why certain things make me happy. And with that, I get to know who I am, who's the core of Brandi, and with that, what are my needs? And it's not what do I need at the store or offline. It's what are my needs? What is it that's in a non-selfish way, give me, but what are my needs? And I understand, because I used to always say, I'm an addict. It's what I'm going to do. I don't need to know anything more about myself than that. So if I fuck up, expect it because it's who I am. And that didn't go well at all, actually.
It doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well. Yeah.
I'm happy with myself the way I am. I'm happy with myself.
Yeah. Just accept me slowly killing myself, please.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I've, in this whole process, I've gotten to know that I'm not just an addict, that's just not what it is. I have a disease and there's a magical motherfucker for sure. There's a part to me that there's other people in the world that, my husband, for example, that don't have the same struggle. And so, but I want to turn that struggle into a strength, and with that it's digging in deeper and knowing, when I know where my character and character defects come from, it makes me understand it better, and I know today what I need is I do need to, I need to have time for myself. I need to have time for my recovery and my family. I need to remember that to not future trip. I need to remember to that I love who I am today. And though I can't say I hated who I used to be, but if I don't continue going forward in my recovery and getting to know myself and trying to better parts of myself, I could go right back to that. And that person is still there. But finding new things about myself and new, wants. I didn't care if, not that I want to win an argument, but I didn't care to put no part in any heated conversation with my husband before. I'm wrong. Even if I wasn't wrong in something, I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong about something. So I'm just going to agree with you. But today, it's how I feel in things, and that has been a different thing for my husband. He's I don't know about all this. You have an opinion, before it's whatever. But there's things that that make me happy internally. And that is, being heard and also being left alone sometimes, knowing that little in between, because and being able to take what I have that I never thought I could have, which is happiness in my recovery, and giving it to someone else. Like if that doesn't get to help me get to know myself more, I don't know what, like I really never thought that I would ever be clean. Like I think it's kind of a cliche, but it's like if I get clean, you get clean straight up. That's
That's
how
our
I
primary
feel.
purpose. That's our primary purpose
Yeah.
now.
I
And with
think the
that,
same.
yeah. And with that, it's like I've gotten to know myself, and I get to know today of like, like I could say, I do love everybody and I don't like everybody, and I get that. And I mean, I've always been like that really, but I genuinely love people, but I have a hard time showing them the love sometimes. And sometimes I just want to be like, are you serious? Like I will talk all kinds of shit in my head, and I'm like, bring it back, Brandi. Just bring it back.
Then you
Like,
say, what would Andrew do? What would Andrew do?
yeah. Well, I'm telling you, like, I mean, there's times where like we've had a conversation on something, and it's in the meeting. I'm like, man, this guy really does love. Like, I could learn. I really. You inspire me in the way you give it out, because there's times like I could love somebody, but if I don't feel like I'm loving him right now, I just won't say nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to tell him I love
The
him,
words
even
just
if I
don't come
know.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, what is that doing for me? What is that doing for them? Because when somebody's down either on you or what you're doing or whatever, and you show them love, it's confusing. It's like when someone flips you off and you wave high.
And if you
It's like,
don't say
wait.
you love them, they win. If you don't say you love them, they win. They win.
Yeah,
They've taken you out of that love element. They're like, they make you rethink whether you want to say you
yeah,
love them to them. Come on, man.
yeah, and that's all part of what I can do to. I mean, that benefits me too.
Exactly.
It like wipes out whatever negative to thinking I'm going through in the moment, and just reminding, like, it
That's
is about like it's loving each other, and with that I find more love for myself, you know.
love it.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
that's
Love
my
you,
answer.
Brandi.
I love you, bro.
Okay, Mr. Andrew, we see ourselves as part of something greater and seek to live in harmony with it. When we achieve that harmony, the freedom we feel is unmistakable. We are freed from our feelings of alienation and inadequacy, and from the self-centered fear that once seemed to infect all of our thoughts and actions. Has the feeling of being part of something in connection changed your experience of harmony in your life?
Oh man, absolutely. Absolutely it has, man. It's changed my whole idea of what that even means. And it's growing every day. This thing grows every day, Brandi. I'm never gonna have this thing figured out. And this fellowship and these meetings have created a sense of togetherness, a sense of unity, a sense of peace in my life that I've never had. I've never had peace in my life, man. I'm so addicted to chaos. I don't know what peace is. We hit on it earlier. This addiction is an obsession of my mind, and my body's allergic to it. So I'm in a constant struggle. I'm in a constant tug of war in between my mind and my emotions. My emotions are going to take over every time, and I'm done, man. I gotta, my mind has been in constant train mode to be security guy on those emotions, right? I've got a doorman now. It's my mind. My mind is the doorman of my emotions. Now, I'm not saying that the doorman wins every time. You're going to get a few of those fake IDs that slip in. Right, you might not check. There's going to be other things, but we have a program in place, because there's also some security guys inside the building too. So once we'll get it weeded out eventually. We just got to stay consistent, stay tapped into this message. The sense of togetherness and the sense of unity and the sense of that you wanted me here when I got here kept me alive.
Yeah.
It was everything to me. When I came to that second meeting, they're like, "Hey, Andrew, thank you for coming back. We love you." And I'm going, "Who the fuck are you talking to?" But I see it now. When you see somebody that is day one, day two, struggling, can't even look anybody in the eye, and they come back that next day, bro, that's the hope shot I need. You don't even need to say anything. Just them
Yeah.
being in that building or in a meeting, you know, the nieces that just one day, whatever it is. Just the fact that they're there gives me so much hope. And then what it does is it puts our bodies back into that position of we were once that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then it puts us right back into that sense of gratitude that we need to stay in. Because what a grateful addict doesn't use, guys. You know, I mean, we've never seen a person live the Narcotics Anonymous program relapse. Part of living this program is coming to meetings when you don't want to, is sharing when you don't want to. Sharing is the antidote to our disease thinking. It's also one of the highest forms of prayer in our fellowship. Honest sharing at meeting level. It's a form of prayer. Think about it. People go to church to hear the message.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But we don't have one, you don't have the one reverend, right? We're all reverends. We're all vessels.
Yeah.
We're all vessels. And we all, the spiritual principle of rotation. We all share as it comes, we raise our hands, we share in these meetings as it comes to us, and the higher power takes over. And, prayer to prayer, those meetings are so fucking special. We don't pay $1 to be in those meetings, man. I don't need a quarter in my pocket, and I can be in every fucking meeting there is.
Yeah.
If I could physically be in all of them, and I could be in every one, and be a broke homeless person under a bridge, right? So man, I love this program. This program showed me that I wasn't alone. I thought I was alone. I never felt a part of anything. When I came in here and I realized there was hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people going through the same shit I'm going through every single day, and that I had a blueprint to get out of my disease. And they said, young man, look, sit down. Our message is hope and a promise of freedom. Is that an addict, any addict, including you, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. And I thought you were full of shit. And I've not only done that, man, like I know there is no cap to what I can do in my life. Like the only restrictions I have in my life are the ones I put on them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The restrictions I have to being open-minded are the only things that are going to hold me back from doing anything that I want to do in my life. My living clean tells me as long as I'm willing to move towards my dreams, I'm gonna blow right through those dreams, man. I just got to be willing to move towards them and work on myself and stay clean. You can't be using drugs and get any of this shit that we're talking about. If you're using drugs, look, come into our meetings until it works.
Yeah.
But this isn't a program for like drug users to just have friends.
Like the functioning addict thing, like just
No.
It's like a make-believe thing.
No. And if you're one of those people that can use one drug and not the other, whatever, this is not the program for you, man. You're not a drug addict. I have an addiction of more. I want everything now.
Yep.
So yeah, man, that was mine. Remember, look, there's no way to peace. Peace is the way. Ooh, I love that.
Right.
And there's no way to peace. Peace is the way. That's the one you wrote down earlier, Brandi. So you're gonna take that one with you.
I am.
You want the question repeated, Brandi?
Please.
Okie dokie. Has the feeling of being part of something and connection changed your experience of harmony in your life?
So, because before, trying to do life, I mean, not physically on my own, but like, didn't reach out for any help. Like I didn't, I couldn't admit I was an addict. If I did that, then I admitted that I couldn't handle my shit.
Yeah, you drugged
So
no
I
more.
kept, yeah. So I kept it, I didn't try to reach out to anybody on that. And today I know how important that is to me, to be able to let other people work on my life like I do in theirs. Like, and it makes me a part of, like, I really did have, what is it, how they call it, imposter syndrome? Like when I first started coming to these meetings, like, am I supposed to be here? Because I put in my own head, like, did I use enough drugs? I know, I mean, I definitely did. Did I use the right kind? Was I homeless? Like, do I qualify? And the beauty of this program, is it, we all do, and being hearing my story through other people, maybe, and even if it's not like the same scenario, but that same feeling has made me feel like at home. and to be able to be a part of something, but feel a part of it too. Like I never thought um, that I could be where I am today. And I mean, obviously, I look forward to the growth I still have to come, but like today I get to be a part of other people's recovery and other people's milestones and other people's harmony. And that's huge. That is huge because I could barely even, keep my own shit together, let alone helping other people. I mean, we can't do it for them, but we are all synchronizing in this way where it's like the gift that keeps on giving and it just keeps giving. And I didn't think that that was attainable for me at all. And not only that, like, it brings it into my house, like I feel like, though, I mean, I was always loved, but I don't think I was always accepted for a while, like my husband and I were like roommates for quite a while. And today, like I'm a part of, like, my husband and I, we're not just like, the couple that's been together 25 years, like we're best friends, and that doesn't mean that we're perfect, but we communicate in a way that's differently. And like, I know my value, he knows his value, we know our value together. I know, like, I feel like I'm not just like on this coattail of this relationship. Like, I am a big part of it, And when it comes to like my program, it's the same way. But like we're all like none of us are better than the other, and that's how it is in my marriage today too, and that's how it is in these rooms. And it doesn't matter if you got 1 day or 100 days or anything in between or after. We're all coming in with the same vulnerability and the same like goal in the end. Maybe we don't know it at first either, and maybe we don't realize that the hurdles we have to go through, but to be able to be a part of something for myself and to see other people go through, fuck, it's amazing. It really is amazing. This program amazes me every day. Like there's so many things that I didn't think that I would be a part of that I feel like I'm a part of today because of being able to surrender, first of all, and to be able to want harmony and peace and better myself in a way that's not using somebody or using myself in a way, like a genuine natural happiness, and I feel like when it comes to helping other people, like being a sponsor, um that's another imposter syndrome thing when I'm like, are you sure I'm ready to sponsor somebody? Like do I really even know what I'm doing here? Like, and I had to take all that like chaos out of it and just be another addict with another addict, and like, and learn more about myself as I'm helping someone learn about their self because, I get so much out of it, I get so much out of just being of service and giving my number to somebody and letting them talk or opening up about what I'm going through. And that's one thing, like I could talk about my addiction and my drug use till whenever, until I've said it all. But I've worked really hard on opening up about other areas of my life, like the chronic pain I deal with and just family members and stuff like that. And when I do that, it helps other people feel a part of something because they're a part of what I'm going through. And allowing somebody in is huge for me because I'm like, nope, I got it under control. I don't need anybody's help at all. And today I know I need help, and I'm okay with that because that means I'm working on something. And so that's my answer.
Freedom.
I love that. Freedom, that's right. Has the feeling of being part of something in connection changed my experience of harmony in my life? Well, the short answer is abso-frickin-lutely. But, first of all, I think I spent a lot of my life not feeling part of something. Like I felt like an outsider. And I think that was, part of my own self-acceptance problem that led me to drugs, and I would have like glimmers of connection with people in drugs that would lead to disconnection because of my own level of abuse with it. And quite honestly, most of them recoiling and like getting a grasp on their life back sooner than me, You know, like, I mean, I was a long timer. I was 37 years. I should have like retirement and a pension right now from partying. Like,
Could you imagine?
This is, you were in it.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now.
but,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
so coming into these rooms, I mean, first of all, going to treatment, man, I shared stuff with that 17 different people that were there in the time I was there that I had never shared with people. And I had never had friends who really wanted to talk about things like that, except for one friend. And he died from addiction, actually. You know, but so I think as a man, finding other men who actually want to talk about emotions and that was just not heard of where I grew
Yeah.
up. Where I grew up, you know, it was like stop crying or we'll punch you more. You know, like it
Give you
was
something to cry about.
yeah, exactly. We'll give you something to cry about. And
Yeah.
but you know, so like my friends inside recovery really feel like deeper friendships than than I've ever had. And consequently though, you know, like it's brought more harmony into my relationships with my family loved ones, you know, that are still here and in my life because I feel that brave enough to go and to talk to them in ways
Mm.
that I never did before. And you know, like I'm like, well, fuck that. If I could share in front of fucking Mike in the meeting, I could share to my wife or to my daughter. Like, you know, if I could say I love you to you two, guess who's always
Yeah.
here and they love like that I love them all fucking day
Yeah.
long, you know,
Yeah.
like and why wouldn't I? Like why wouldn't I want to bring harmony into my home and not just have it like my harmony's from 7 to 9 on Fridays and
Yeah. Right.
A minute late, you get no love, man. No.
That's
Yeah,
right.
God.
That's right. So, you know, it really has changed how I experience harmony because it's I'm awake enough to be grateful for it. And how do I express my gratitude for harmony? By trying to bring more of it into my life.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's it for me, you know. And so I don't really want to cut it short, but I do kind of gotta go pretty quick
So do
here.
I. So do I.
Okay,
I got
okay.
kind of head up too, man.
So like, but I would love to say that I love you too, and
I
I've
love you
missed
guys.
you a
Love you
lot,
guys.
Brandi.
Remember
Yes.
this. Remember this. More prayer, more peace, more prayer, more serenity, more prayer, more humility, less prayer, less peace, less prayer, less serenity, less prayer, less humility, man. Pray, guys. Pray to push till something
Surrender,
happens.
Yes.
Push,
surrender.
push, push.
I was never
love
the
you all.
defender of surrender. Life
Thank you,
stuck in a
Brandi. I love
bender.
you. I'll see you
I
later.
love you guys.
Okay,
Love
tune
you
in
I love
next
you
time,
guys.
everybody, for more recovery fun. Bye bye.
guys. Love you,
I
love you,
love
love
you.
you.
Please
Love you.
help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.